Good day, welcome to the Automotive Dad, and welcome to something a bit different. The 2025 Isuzu D Max Arctic Trucks AT35.
In the Old Norse world, there was no word for impossible. There was only land, sea, sky, and the courage to cross them. Now, far beyond the last road sign, the Isuzu D Max AT35 enters a realm that feels older than time itself. Mist coils around its path like the breath of ancient giants. Mountains rise in the distance, silent, watching. Its engine echoes through the valley, a low, steady thunder, like Mjolnir striking stone. The AT35 moves forward with the resolve of a northern warrior, wide, unyielding, sure of its ground. It climbs where the weak turn back. It pushes through rivers that once marked the edge of the known world. A modern longship cutting through a frozen sea of land. This is not conquest. This is passage. A journey written in steel and silence. Guided by instinct older than history, beyond the horizon lies another realm, another tale, another test of will. And the AT35 does not hesitate, because in the language of the North, the unknown is not to be feared, it is to be answered.
Now, I've had a lot of D Max content on the channel over the past year or so, from the previous generation, launched the new one, and spending time with the new one. But this is something different, because whilst the underpinnings of it are that of a standard D Max, well, this particular D Max has been off to Arctic Trucks, who have, well, they've pumped a lot of steroids into it. So from the start, from the offset, it's 55 millimeters higher. It is wider, 315 tyres all the way around, £400 each, they're expensive. Realistically, £68,000 on the road, including that. Before options, but it looks cool. This is the alternative family vehicle that you should really look at. So in this episode of the Automotive Dad, we're going to check it out and see just how well it does at family life. So obviously the front end has been made substantially more aggressive. Whilst it is the standard D Max underneath, before Arctic got their hands on it, now they've got their hands on it, on top of the fact that it's sitting higher, that 55 millimeters higher, you've got body kit making it stretch out. Why is it stretching out? Well, they wanted to fit 315-inch tyres on it, but the front end is big and aggressive. It has that extra raise on the bonnet, as the new D Max does have, and a nice, relatively big grille. Not overpowering, but actually kind of essential to keep everything cool. And if you were to take this to the Arctic Circle, you would cover this up because it would get too cool. There's too much cooling. This truck is made to kind of work in hot environments and cold and everywhere. In fact, this aesthetically is a truck which fits in, well, pretty much only off-road. If you take it into a car park, it doesn't fit and it looks out of place, and I love it. This Beerit's blue, lovely, lovely colour. Previous truck I had was in that colour. The front end just looks powerful and encumbering and strong. What about the side? Side profile-wise, this has presence. Definitely helped by the fact it's got 315 70 17. So 17s aren't the biggest wheels, but stick them on a 70 profile, and 315 wide, they stick out. Helping them stick out is this lovely body kit, which tells you what your pressure should be for on-road, off-road, etc, etc. There is an AT35 part here, lovely running boards. On the side here, mud flaps, let you know, Arctic Trucks. Coming to the back, there's an Arctic Truck specific bull bar here. And it just flows. The side of this truck is beastly. It's a great looking thing. And yeah, stands out. This isn't your standard school run car, let's put it that way. Back end wise, not too much has actually been done, because realistically this is a standard, pretty much a V-cross rear bumper going on. Obviously this one has a tow bar attached and it has a massive bar running underneath, which is an extra thing to look out for as you turn. But the back end hasn't really changed all too much. This one has an optional sliding rear cover, which is a costly option. Looks cool, very easy to use, an essential option, but a costly one. But the back end looks that standard Isuzu D Max design. It's a nice big area, which they've put a little bit of design into to make it less boring. And then the only other thing that makes it stand out is the fact that here it says AT35 Arctic Trucks. And the fact that the wheels stick out so much. But yeah, and it's higher. Yeah. You get the idea. Looks the same, but bigger, more masculine, more pumped with steroids. Find yourself climbing up and into the Arctic truck, and well, you find it's just a standard Isuzu D Max on the inside with Arctic Truck's logo on headrests. That's no bad thing, because the interior of a standard D Max is very good, very hardy, and very well thought out. Lots of cup holders, lots of space, lots of family capable utilities. 9-inch infotainment, there's a good cluster in front of you which gives you lots of different information. Actual buttons, not too many things hidden within a menu. And everything's within reach, a good amount of headroom. The front is a nice place to be. It's a family-friendly truck. The D Max really is suited to so many walks of life, and family is one of them. And this AT35 is just like a standard D Max in that way, because it is so family-friendly. The front is good, the sound system is reasonable, the driving position is nice, the seats are comfortable. What about the back? Well, the kids zone is very capable. Now, for the taller persuasion, to go in the back of a D Max isn't always the nicest idea. There is space, but in pickup terms, it's a little bit less spacious than some of the competitors, but equally absolutely fine. This one happens to fit a 360 spin ISOFIX seat fine without really having to do anything to the front passenger seat. It has vents, it has power plugs, it has hooks, it has enough space in between the two seats to have a full-sized human being sit in there. Realistically, that means that you could have 3 seats in here, 3 belted seat belts, 2 ISOFIX and 1 belted. It's easy to fit the kids into, and if anything, actually, for the 360 spin seats, because they are a little bit higher anyway, that's probably actually harder than just putting a kid in a normal seat. For your kids who are like 2.5 upwards, who want to get themselves into the car, not quite so easy, because it's a little bit of a climb. My 4-year-old just manages it, and she gets herself in and out absolutely fine. But for her, it is a bit like traversing a rock face. But it's cool, she likes it, it's fun. But there's space, there's cubby holes, it's comfortable, there's a good height for them to look out and see everything. The interior is good quality, and the interior is long lasting. Whilst it may not be like the highest of high quality leathers, they are robust leathers that will stand the test of time. So from that front, Isuzu have thought, let's make an interior that's hardy for the people who go to work and put it through its paces, but also for the people that use it for the everyday for that work, and then family stuff and school runs and everything. So this interior is family friendly. Only side thing is that, and it's with all Isuzus, you can't individually turn off the rear windows. You just have to turn off every window except the driver's window, which is no good when you've got kids who want to constantly press buttons to bring the windows up and down, but you also got a wife who wants to put her window down, but she can't, because the second that you turn it off to put her window down, your 4-year-old presses the button to put her window down as well, whilst on the motorway at 70 miles an hour. That's the only bad bit about the interior, really. But it's not really a bad bit, is it? It's not that much of a problem, though it is very annoying. Now, if we're going to talk about all things boot space, as I mentioned in my main D Max review, well, it's pretty gargantuous. Great if you've got a locking rear big top that makes it like a big estate car, but this is equally incredibly usable. This one's got the boot liner to make it comfortable to get up and down. It can take a ton of payload weight. It's a 5-foot bed, basically, although with the locking rolling top, it does make it a little bit less for height. But all your family stuff easily fits in here. Although at 50 millimeters higher, it's just a little bit higher than it was before. Easily prams and everything. Now let's talk everything drive, because I've driven this truck a lot. It's been with me coming up to 2 weeks, and in those 2 weeks I have driven it, well, let's have a look. What does it say here? 1,038 miles. Sorry, Isuzu. Now, why did I drive it 1,038 miles, you might ask? Well, because on top of all the standard stuff that I did, I then drove it to Porthmadog in Snowdonia region. That's some 600 miles return journey, just to put this to its paces and drive it on a beach. But why did you drive it to a beach, I hear you ask? Well, because I can, and because I knew it wouldn't get stuck I mean, technically it's one of the beaches in the UK that you're allowed to drive on because it's difficult to get beached, but there are sections of it that, well, if you're not careful, you could get beached. But I wouldn't worry about it in this. Now, the drive itself is quite nice. This 1.9 litre 4-pot diesel engine, so it's 163 horsepower, 360 newton meters of torque. Okay, that could do with a little bit of work. You can get it remapped at the dealer. It's about £900 if you're still under warranty, that is. If you're out of warranty period, people like Celtic will do it. And it goes up to roughly about 200 horsepower, more in keeping with what you would want with this. But actually, that 360 newton meters of torque gets you going pretty well, quite easily. And the 6-speed auto gearbox is pretty responsive, though at times it can be a little bit hesitant, just thinking about what it wants to do, but it's actually quite fine. Now, the drive generally is okay. It's not a sports truck. If you throw this too hard into a corner, it's gonna lean. But it's not impossible. Find a road that's a bit too bumpy, and because of the way that this is set up and the type of suspension this has on it and how strong that suspension is, it can be a little bit bouncy. But for general day-to-day driving, it's actually okay. Look, it's not as refined as a standard pickup truck, but this is a lifted pickup truck. You expect it to not be as refined as a standard pickup truck because this can go everywhere. The steering feel is light, but not totally disconnected. As I said, the throttle feels quite good. The brakes feel good. When you need to change gears, you don't have flappy paddles, but you can just knock this over and you're absolutely fine. And the visibility is great. Now, this is no Lightning McQueen when it comes to speed. It is about 13 seconds to 62 miles an hour. Top speed of 112, though I'm not sure you'd want to push this up to 112, though this does sit very happily at a calibrated 70 miles an hour. WLTP wise, they claim 31, and yeah, if you drive at 60, you'll get 31. If you drive at 70, calibrated 70, and have a ridiculous route through Wales to take, then you're more likely to see 27.8 to 28.5 miles per gallon. Add weight into it, more so than I took, and it will change again. But actually, for a truck of this size, that's not bad. This doesn't feel slow, but I can't help but feel that if this could somehow have had more power, sticking a V6 petrol or a V6 diesel in, looking at people like Ford and Mercedes when they did the X350D, the fuel economy then actually wasn't very different at all. So to have more power and more fun but be able to get the same fuel economy, it'd be great. And I guess the next time we're going to see a faster engine output from one of these is when the EV arrives. And when the EV arrives, it will do it, but it will probably only have 200 miles of usable range. So there's that to consider as well. Around town, whilst this is a bigger vehicle, the lock is more than ample to get you around the tighter corners. On tight Welsh back roads, I still didn't struggle. Whilst it is a wide truck, it dealt with it pretty well, and the lane departure warning kind of keeps you in what remains of the lane. There's not a lot of lane left for this truck on small windy roads. And on the motorway, this just kind of sits and cruises so well. Bearing in mind it is a bit of a brick, it's a bit more aerodynamically capable than I considered. 55 millimeters higher, there's a lot of wind rushing underneath you, and actually it's not too bad. For long journeys, this feels like a nice place to be, a nice home to drive in, and you don't get battered around that much. Okay, yeah, it's not going to be as aerodynamic as a genuine sports truck, but that's not what this is for. This is for going to the unexplored areas and going into deep mud, and that's exactly what this can do. As a side portion to this, I'll add that I killed our fridge. Oops. Tried cleaning the ice out, fridge freezer anyway, with a knife, and all the gas escaped. And then it was an urgent, I need to very quickly get a replacement fridge. So on Facebook Marketplace, other marketplaces are available, I went. And £85 later, I found someone, but they were down a farm track, and the fridge freezer was only accessible through an absolute quagmire. And they were like, oh, I hope you've got wellies because you can't drive through it. Well, guess what? This did. Because it has an intelligent off-road mode. You can lock rear diff. You can put it into a mode where it basically knows I'm going through some really rough terrain mode, and it doesn't struggle. It literally just went straight through, and they were like, oh, our farm truck gets stuck in that. Well, guess what? This didn't. I mean, BF Goodrich all-terrains are a great tyre. So off-road wise, this is pretty much unstoppable. It can go almost anywhere. Thank you, ADAS system, for telling me I was going to crash into something which wasn't there. And on-road wise, it can also do pretty much anything. So the fuel economy is okay, the drive is nice, and every now and then, yeah, you'll get buffeted around, or the road will do something weird and the truck won't really like it. But it's because this is a truck that's made to basically go around the world. This is a truck that, with a few options on it, you would quite easily drive it around the globe. I am not kidding. This is a proper adventure vehicle. And it also doesn't have a wet belt to go wrong. Looking at you, other brands, these are pretty trustworthy engines. They have their faults, but actually they're few and far between in comparison to some of the competitor vehicles. So what else is there really to say about this AT35 than it is incredibly epic as a family car? It's not conventional. It's an unconventional family car, but the unconventional doesn't always need to be unconventional, because it's okay to have something that sticks out, that's too big for parking spaces, that's higher than everything else, and maybe doesn't get the best fuel economy in the world, although actually it's pretty reasonable given the henchness of this vehicle. And it's okay to have something which can do everything. Okay, it might not be the fastest, but it can go pretty much everywhere. And at £68,000 on the road, yes, it's a lot of money, but from a monthly point of view, you can get these for like £450 to £550 a month and properly stand out on the school run, stand out in the supermarket, stand out everywhere, and have loads of tech. A light bar which will literally blind anyone coming the other way or give them corrective surgery depending on what way they've gone. It's an incredibly cool thing that is just different. If you've got a choice between a standard D Max or an AT35, I know which one I go for. The standard D Max is a great vehicle, but the AT35 stands out in such cool ways. The only way that it's not cool is that it costs £400 a tyre to replace these BF Goodrich all-terrains because they're 315/70/17. They are gargantuous. So is this a good family car? Yes. Is it a good work vehicle? Yes. Is it a good all-rounder? Yes. Can you drive this from the United Kingdom to the Arctic Circle? Yes. Say that about many other family cars. I mean, even a standard D Max, when you get into the heavy, heavy snow, eventually it's going to struggle. But this AT35, it is not. Good family car.